So it's a Friday afternoon, and many of my clients get the wonderful treatment of lying on this couch. And it's Friday afternoon, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to lie on this couch, and I'm just going to have a little chat with you. So have you ever been told that there's nothing to worry about? Just calm down, stop overthinking. Well, if you've experienced anxiety, you probably know that none of these comments are particularly helpful. None of these comments are particularly helpful at all. If you can hear something going on in the background, that's my neighbours having some fun with their kids. So we can't really get cross about that, can we? So the frustrating thing about anxiety is that it often seems to appear out of nowhere. You can be driving to work, you can be sitting in a meeting, you can be standing in a supermarket, or even relaxing on holiday, and suddenly your heart starts to race, your breathing changes, your stomach tightens, your mind begins to imagine all the things that could go wrong. And it can actually feel pretty frightening. But today I want to explain something that people never get really told. Anxiety isn't a sign that something is wrong with you. It's actually a sign that your brain is trying to protect you. And once you understand why, anxiety starts to feel a little less mysterious. So let's begin with something that might surprise you. Anxiety isn't actually the problem. It's the brain's solution. Now, I know that probably sounds a bit strange, but because anxiety suddenly doesn't feel very helpful at times. But imagine for a moment that you're walking through a forest thousands and thousands of years ago, and you hear a rustle in the bushes behind you. Now, at that point, your brain has two choices. It could assume that it's the wind, or it could assume that it's a hungry predator, which is going to pounce on you any second. Now, which response gives you the best chance of surviving? Exactly. You know the answer. Your brain is designed to assume the worst first, okay? So it's not because it's pessimistic, but actually because it's protective. That same survival system is still inside us, every one of us, right now. The only difference is that instead of lions and bears or saber-toothed tigers, it now has to react to deadlines, to difficult conversations, to financial worries, to school pressures, to health concerns, and the list goes on. Even the thought of something bad happening can send us into a spin. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between a physical danger and an emotional one. To your primitive brain, a threat is a threat. Okay, so why does anxiety feel so physical? Because it does, doesn't it? Sometimes it can feel really physical. And one of the biggest misconceptions about anxiety is that it's all in your head. Well, it isn't. Anxiety is something that you feel throughout your whole body. When your brain senses danger, it instinctively prepares you to survive. So your heart rate beats faster. You pump blood to your muscles because you've got to be ready for action. Your breathing becomes quicker to bring in more oxygen. Your muscles go tense and they're ready for action. Your digestive system slows down because, to be honest, digesting lunch isn't important if you're escaping danger. And that's why anxiety can cause feelings like a racing heart or butterflies or nausea, tight shoulders, sweaty hands, tingling sensations, feeling shaky, dizziness, a lump in your throat, dry mouth. You know, these sensations can be pretty alarming at times, but here's the important thing. They're not signs that your body is failing. They're signs that your body is working exactly as it was designed to do. It's trying to protect you, okay? So here's where anxiety becomes a bit exhausting. The brain notices a thought. What if I can't cope? Your body reacts. You notice your heart starts to race, and then your brain says, something must be wrong because my heart's racing, which, of course, creates more anxiety, which creates more physical symptoms, which creates more worry and thoughts. It's like a smoke alarm that starts beeping and becomes sort of frightened by the sound of its own beep. Before long, the whole system is feeding itself, and many people think they're trapped, but you know what? You're not. They're simply caught in a cycle, and it's a cycle that can be changed. Now, the other thing to sort of note here is, have you ever noticed how reassurance works for about 5 minutes? You ask someone, do you think everything will be okay? And they say, of course, of course. And of course, you feel better when they say that. Then 20 minutes later, your brain asks the same question. That's because reassurance calms the thinking brain for a little while, but it doesn't convince the protective mind, the protective brain, that you're safe. The protective brain learns through repeated experiences of safety, not through logic alone. And that's why simply telling someone to stop worrying rarely works. And we've probably all experienced that. In fact, sometimes it makes you feel like you want to bop them on the nose. But teaching the brain that life is safe, again, is really important. And the wonderful thing about the brain is that it's always learning. Okay, so every calm experience teaches it something new. Every good night's sleep, every enjoyable walk, every laugh with a friend, every small success, every moment you cope better than you expected. All of these experiences quietly tell your brain, we're okay. And over time, that protective brain begins to realise it doesn't need to sound that alarms quite so often. This isn't about becoming fearless. It's about helping your brain become better at recognising the difference between genuine danger and everyday life. And that's exactly what many evidence-informed approaches like solution-focused hypnotherapy that I practice aim to support. They aim to support sort of helping the brain spend more time in its calm thinking state where problem-solving, confidence and resilience naturally grow. So if anxiety is something that you struggle with, I'd like you to remember just one thing, okay? So one thing I'd really like to remember is, instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what is my brain trying to protect me from? That small change in perspective can be incredibly powerful, because anxiety isn't proof that you're weak. It's proof, and it's not proof, of course, that you're weak, but of course, it's not proof that you're broken. More often than not, it's proof that you have a wonderfully protective brain that becomes just a little too sensitive at times. And the good news is the brain can learn. We can adapt. It can become calmer again. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy learning about the fascinating brains and the ways our brains work, and you'd like simple practical explanations that help life make a little more sense, maybe, I'd love you to subscribe. And next time we'll explore another question that many people ask, which is, why do smart people overthink everything? Until then, take good care of yourself. Remember, your brain is always trying to help you, even when it doesn't feel like it is. And also remember to look after yourself and also look after your brain.